Stop. You haven't subscribed to the channel yet? Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now, let's go. The Crossroads of Desire. My name is Emily, and I'm a 32-year-old woman living in the vibrant city of San Francisco. On the surface, my life is picture perfect. A successful career in marketing, a loving husband named Michael, and our adorable 5-year-old daughter, Lily. We've been married for 8 wonderful years, and together we've built a life that many would envy. We have a cozy home in a charming neighborhood, complete with a white picket fence and a golden retriever named Max. Yet, despite all this, I found myself standing at a crossroads I never expected to face. It all began subtly, like a quiet whisper in the back of my mind. The routines of daily life, waking up early to pack lunches, dropping Lily off at school, heading to work, returning home to cook dinner, and collapsing into bed exhausted, started to feel like a monotonous cycle. Michael and I still love each other, but our conversations had dwindled to discussions about bills, school events, and grocery lists. The spark that once ignited our relationship seemed to have dimmed. One sunny afternoon, while grabbing coffee between meetings, I bumped into Alex, an old college friend. He was the kind of man who commanded attention when he walked into a room, tall, with dark, wavy hair, and a smile that could light up the darkest of days. "Emily, is that you?" he exclaimed, his eyes widening with surprise. "Alex, oh my goodness, it's been ages," I replied, feeling a genuine excitement that I hadn't felt in a long time. We decided to sit down and catch up. One coffee turned into 2, and before I knew it, an hour had passed. We reminisced about college days, laughed over shared memories, and filled each other in on the paths our lives had taken. "You're still as captivating as ever," Alex said, his gaze lingering a bit too long. I felt a blush rise to my cheeks. "You're too kind," I replied modestly. As I left the cafe, a flutter of exhilaration danced in my chest. It was innocent, I told myself, a chance encounter with an old friend. Over the next few days, Alex occupied my thoughts more than I cared to admit. The ease of our conversation, the way he made me feel seen and heard, it was intoxicating. When he texted me later that week, suggesting we meet up again, I hesitated for only a moment before agreeing. We met for lunch, then for drinks after work. Each meeting felt like a stolen moment, a secret just for us. I knew it was dangerous territory, but I rationalized that we were just friends catching up. One evening, as we walked along the Embarcadero, the city lights reflecting off the bay, Alex turned to me. "Emily, I have to be honest," he began, his voice soft yet earnest. "I can't stop thinking about you." My heart skipped a beat. "Alex?" He stepped closer, his eyes searching mine. "Tell me you don't feel the same, and I'll never bring it up again." I opened my mouth to protest, but no words came out. The truth was, I did feel something, a pull, a longing for the excitement and passion that had faded from my life. "This isn't right," I whispered, more to myself than to him. He reached out and gently took my hand. Sometimes the right path isn't the easiest one. That night, I made a choice that would change everything. We ended up at his apartment, a modern loft with panoramic views of the city. As we crossed the threshold, all the doubts and fears melted away. The world outside ceased to exist. "I can't believe we're doing this," I murmured as he pulled me into his arms. "Neither can I," he admitted, "but I don't want it to stop." The next morning, reality came crashing back. I slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake him, and hurried home. Guilt gnawed at me, but another part of me felt more alive than I had in years. At home, Michael was in the kitchen, flipping pancakes while Lily colored at the table. Morning sleepyhead, he greeted me with a peck on the cheek. "You were out early." "Just went for a jog," I lied, avoiding his gaze, needed to clear my head. Days turned into weeks, and my affair with Alex continued. Each rendezvous was a whirlwind of passion and emotion. I kept telling myself it would end, that it was just a fling, but I was in too deep. I was living a double life, and the weight of my deceit grew heavier each day. One afternoon, I met my closest friend Sarah for lunch. We sat outside at a quaint cafe, the aroma of fresh bread and coffee enveloping us. "Emily, you seem different lately," she remarked, eyeing me curiously. "Is everything okay?" I hesitated before blurting out, I'm seeing someone. Her eyes widened. Wait, what? You're having an affair? I nodded, unable to meet her gaze. It's with Alex. You remember him from college. Emily, what about Michael and Lily? I know, I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I didn't plan for this to happen. It just did. She leaned in, her expression a mix of concern and disbelief. You need to end this before it blows up in your face. I can't, I admitted softly. I think I'm in love with him. That evening, back at home, I was on the phone with Sarah, continuing our earlier conversation. I paced the living room, tension knotting in my shoulders. I don't know what to do, I confessed. I can't leave Michael. He's a wonderful husband and father, but I can't imagine my life without Alex either. Emily, you can't have both, Sarah warned. You need to make a choice. Unbeknownst to me, Michael had come home early. He stood silently in the doorway, listening to every word. I just wish there was an easy answer, I said, tears welling up in my eyes. Maybe I can help you decide. Michael's voice cut through the air like a knife. I spun around, my heart dropping to my stomach. Michael, I didn't hear you come in. He stared at me, his eyes a storm of hurt and betrayal. How long? He demanded. Please let me explain, I pleaded. How long, Emily? He repeated, his voice dangerously calm. 3 months, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. He clenched his jaw, nodding slowly. I see. Michael, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I began, stepping toward him. He held up a hand to stop me. Don't. I came home early to surprise you and take you out to dinner. Seems you've already made other plans. Please, let's talk about this, I begged. We can fix this. He looked at me with a mixture of sadness and resignation. You know, I thought we were happy. Clearly, I was wrong. I was feeling lost, disconnected. It wasn't about you, I tried to explain. Not about me, he scoffed. You cheated on me, Emily. You brought another man into our lives. I never wanted to hurt you, I said, tears streaming down my face. He took a deep breath, his expression hardening. I'll make this simple for you. I'm filing for divorce. The word hit me like a slap. No, Michael, please don't do this. Think about Lily. I am thinking about her, he snapped. She deserves parents who respect each other. He turned to leave, then paused. I'll stay at a hotel tonight. We can discuss arrangements in the morning. As he walked out the door, the weight of my actions crashed down on me. I sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The following weeks were a blur of legal proceedings and painful conversations. Michael was civil but distant, focused on creating the best possible situation for Lily. I moved into a small apartment nearby to be close to her, sharing custody as amicably as we could. Meanwhile, my relationship with Alex began to unravel. Without the secrecy and thrill of an affair, the cracks started to show. One evening, as we sat in my cramped living room, the tension was palpable. You're quiet tonight, Alex remarked, sipping his wine. Just thinking, I replied, staring out the window. About what? Everything. My life, the mess I've made, I sighed. He reached out to touch my hand. We have each other now. That's all that matters. I pulled away gently. Is it? I destroyed my marriage, upended my daughter's life. For what? Emily, we fell in love. You can't help how you feel, he said defensively. Maybe love isn't just about feelings, I mused. Maybe it's about commitment, sacrifice. He frowned. Are you regretting us? I don't know. I admitted. I just feel lost. A few days later, Alex called me to meet at a cafe. I've been doing some thinking, he began, avoiding eye contact. Maybe we rushed into this. What are you saying? I asked, though I already knew. Perhaps we need some time apart, he suggested, to figure things out. I nodded slowly, a numbness spreading through me. I understand. And just like that, he was gone. In the quiet that followed, I was left to face the consequences of my choices. I had lost my husband, the stability of our family, and now the man I thought I loved. The thrill that once excited me had been replaced by a profound emptiness. One afternoon, I mustered the courage to meet with Michael. We sat across from each other in a small park where Lily played on the swings. Thank you for meeting me, I began nervously. He nodded but said nothing. I wanted to apologize, I continued, for everything. He looked at me, his eyes weary. I've heard your apologies, Emily. I don't expect forgiveness. I wanted you to know that I regret everything I've done. He sighed, glancing over at Lily. Our priority now is her. She needs stability. I agree, I said softly. You're a wonderful father. He stood up. I should get going. As he walked away to fetch Lily, I called after him. Michael? He turned slightly. I'm sorry, I repeated. He gave a faint nod before taking our daughter's hand and walking away. Months have passed since then. I'm still adjusting to my new reality, attending therapy, trying to rebuild myself, and being the best mother I can be to Lily. The road ahead is uncertain, but I've learned a hard truth. Chasing fleeting desires can cost you everything you hold dear. I often think back to the life I had, a loving husband, a beautiful family, and I realize now how much I took it for granted. Regret is a heavy burden to bear, but it's one I carry in the hopes that it will guide me toward making better choices in the future. Epilogue. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we didn't know we needed. I lost myself in the allure of something new and exciting, only to discover that true happiness isn't found in the thrill of the moment, but in the quiet, enduring bonds we build with those we love. While I can't undo the past, I can move forward with intention and humility. My relationship with Michael remains cordial for the sake of our daughter, and perhaps one day, forgiveness might be possible. Until then, I focus on being present, appreciating the small moments, and never again taking for granted the love that was once mine. Reader comments. John 92. This story really hit me hard. It's a powerful reminder of how a momentary lapse in judgment can have lifelong consequences. I feel for everyone involved, especially the child. Lily G. I appreciate the honest portrayal of Emily's internal conflict. It's easy to judge, but the author did a great job showing her emotions and the reasons behind her actions. Mark_T. Michael didn't deserve this. Communication is so important in a marriage, and it's sad to see how the lack of it led to their downfall. Sophie 89. I couldn't stop reading. The narrative was gripping, and I was eager to see how it would unfold. It's a cautionary tale about valuing what you have before it's gone. Alex_P. The character development was excellent. I felt like I understood both Emily and Michael, even if I didn't agree with their choices. Grace_L. It's heartbreaking to see how a search for excitement can lead to such destruction. I hope Emily finds peace and learns from her mistakes. Thom_Doe. The story highlights the importance of addressing feelings of dissatisfaction openly with your partner. Maybe things would have been different if Emily had talked to Michael sooner. Natalie's. As someone who went through a similar experience, this story resonated with me. It's a realistic depiction of how easily things can spiral out of control. Ryan K. Well written. The emotional depth and moral complexities kept me engaged throughout. Kudos to the author. Emma_J. I wish there was a sequel to see how Emily rebuilds her life and if there's any hope for reconciliation with Michael.